uh, page 131, the 10th verse in the third chapter, 3:10. I'll read that which is higher than that superior cause of the world is without form and without disease. I will explain that later. Those who know this, they become immortal, while the others get only sorrow. It's a little. Uh, the Sanskrit is Tato yaduttaratam tad rupam. It is tad arupam anamayam. Ya etad vidur amritaste bhavanti athe itare dukkhameva apriyanti. The now we have seen how the Rishi has been speaking about the reality as within cause and effect, because the world ought to be explained. What do we? There is something that everyone experiences, the external world. So they had presented the immanent reality. This particular verse, just to break you can say, our own limitations of the reality, saying that yes, this is everything. Like Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma, everything is Brahman. Wait. Really? There is something higher. Oh, really? My God. Mhm. So, this is what he says, that which is higher than that superior cause of the world. When we say, where is God? Or you'll say, better still, where is my mind? What is the mind? This is the mind. This is the mind of God. Where is the mind of God? So it's like deciphering the mind of God. This is the mind of God. This is the body of God. This is the spirit of God here, and yet that reality transcends these names and forms. All bodies, all minds, all spirits, all souls. This is what is saying. So it is without form, it is formless, and without disease. We'll explain it later. And somehow this sage is drilling into our heads over and over again. This this part of the mantra is saying, those who know this, they become immortal. For the last few verses, we've seen he's been talking about this. Those who know this become immortal. Now, immortality, as we have discussed, is not in the body, not in the mind also. Wherever there is name and form, there will come a time when this name and form will disintegrate. It might be eons, it might be even zillion lifetimes, but a day will come when this form will fragment. So that also cannot be real immortality. Real immortality will be when we transcend name and form. So that's the reason why he's saying those who know this, that the immortality and the reality is beyond name and form, they become immortal. And while the others only get sorrow, wow. It's not a kind of a blaming us for anything, or criticizing us for anything. Those guys, they'll not get anything. They'll not get immortality, but they'll get a little sorrow. Okay. Mm, of course, at times he goes to the very highest, and at times he uses verses which are both transcendent and immanent reality, and at the same time, the personalized, personal reality of God. God is there. I'm using the word God because God, yeah. So it's the only thing, like Swami Vivekananda said, just use the word without the old superstitions. Because the word has been associated with everything that has been good, grand, and great in human life. So, so use the word God. Uh, I will read out to you a hymn to hymn of Samadhi, which Swami Vivekananda had just uh, you can say, written it down, and which was translated much later. This will give you an idea that when the mind keeps on rising higher and higher, what does it encounter? So here it is. Lo, the sun is not, nor the beautiful moon, all light extinct in the great void of space, floats shadow like the image universe. In the void of mind involute, there floats the fleeting universe, rises and floats, sinks again, ceaseless in the current I. Slowly, slowly, the shadow multitude entered the primal womb and flowed ceaseless, the only current, the I am, I am. Lo, 'tis stopped, even that current flows no more. Void merged into void, beyond speech and mind, whose heart understands, he verily knows. Because in the one of the text of Vedanta, Shankaracharya says, Hridi Kalayati Vidvan Brahma Purnanda. In that heart of that yogi, he or she realizes that infinite Brahman. Yeah. So it's like that. Uh, uh, as we keep on meditating, as that meditation gets deeper and deeper and deeper, what happens is this external world, the gross world, drops out. And you perceive the subtle world. And that subtle world is a world of ideas. It's a world of the mind, the cosmic mind. And that itself is like shadow like, rising and falling. But it's held on to one thing. And what's that one thing? It is that I. It's not this small I. This small I is a reflection of that. And in the void of mind involute, when the mind gets into its causal state, when the mind evolves and the mind involves. Whenever there's an evolution, there has to be an involution. Yeah. So Darwin's evolution, this was intuited ages ago by these sages. Yes, the whole universe evolves. And it evolves, and then what happens? It involves, gets back into that original state. Like the tree evolves from the seed, and then what happens? Yeah, it leaves seeds. That means that whole tree is now involved in the seed, and again it evolves. Evolution, involution are ceaseless. That's why there is no starting point. When did creation begin? There is no starting point. It's like you take a point on the circle. Is this a starting point? It could be. Is this a starting point? Could be. Did the universe start 2 million years ago or 10,000 years ago? No, you cannot say this thing. So, when the mind merges in its causal state, that's what he says, that in the void of mind involute, there floats this fleeting universe, rises and floats, sinks again and again. Everything appears kind of hazy, dreamlike, the whole universe. And the only current there is I am. I am. Asti, Asti. That's why Brahman is called Asti. It is their existence. And then slowly, slowly the shadow multitude entered the primal womb. And lo, even that stopped. So when the mind is no more, can there be a state higher than the mind? Yes, existence is even beyond the mind. Like as we mature, uh, the body is not so important, it's the mind that's important. And we interact with the people's minds. And then as we keep on mature more, it's a spirit that is more important than the person's mind or the body or whatever. And as we keep on maturing, we see things as not people or minds, but spirits, souls. Then you ask the question, yeah, how many? Are there multitudes of souls? No, there is one soul, one reality being reflected in all these things. So here you say everything there stops in the stage of the highest samadhi. So uh, it is called a nirvikalpa samadhi. When the mind is in a lower samadhi, it's called savikalpa. When the mind is with a kind of a wave form, mind is in a kind of form, and the mind merges in its cause. The person, the person who meditates and realizes, he sees that reality as formless. You have something, and then okay, this is what I say. Suppose I put a glass which is blue tinted or yellow tinted. I'll see everything as blue and yellow. So this reality, when it passes through the mind gives that hue, that color to that reality. When the mind has dropped off, then what happens? That is beyond speech and mind. So Swami Vivekananda explains this very verse in his experience of that which is higher than that superior cause of the world. So you see the cause of the world, at that stage it appears shadow like a kind of a hazy image, rising and falling. That's the cosmic mind, held on by that I am, I am. Even that is merged when the mind merges, and then you realize when the mind is without form, when the mind dies, it's called mano nasha. They say the mind dies. Then then you experience reality.
Does that happen like suddenly or slowly?
Now, slowly, it takes a long time. You practice and practice and practice. There's somebody was telling me in this particular room some years back. Some Swami is sitting down and discussing. So one gentleman came, have you experienced Nirvikalpa Samadhi? I have experienced Nirvikalpa Samadhi. So the Swamis kept quiet. We know that this is not the characteristics of a person who has experienced Nirvikalpa. It's clear. I, that person sees himself in the whole universe. There is no separate identification with the body. Secondly, in this higher state, the body dies. Literally, the body dies. In the lower stages of samadhi, the body gets into a kind of hibernation, intense hibernation. There is just enough heat in the spinal column and probably a kind of a slow heartbeat, probably I say, because you cannot have two realities juxtaposed. You've got to give them. This my body and this what I'm experiencing is real. No, no. So bodies do, you can say, retain a little of that life energy, life force. And when the mind once again descends down, the life force engages with the mind and then it descends in the body. And that person, he might have been a fool when he practiced meditation. Okay, just a kind of less knowledge. But when he gets into that stage and he returns, that person is a sage.
Right.
So you can see that person has gone to a place which is different from this. Obviously, he or she comes with knowledge, and knowledge which is not. Yes, yes, yes. So this is an experience that this the cause of the universe, as we have seen, is that Hiranyagarbha, the golden womb, from where all names and forms emerge. So the reality even transcends that. There, all names and forms. What kind of reality is that? Tasteless and without odor, without thing. Where there are no two. But we realize that this is a much lower state of knowledge. Whenever you have a subject and object, that's a much lower state. The highest is when the knowledge becomes free from all subjectivity and objectivity. And what's that? That is absolute knowledge. Simple as that. Or absolute reality. So that is without form, right? So, and without disease. Is a way of saying, just offhand way of saying it, because uh, taken in the very widest this, uh, we are all subject to three types of afflictions. And that's the reason why we say Shanti, Shanti, Shanti three times to ward off those three afflictions which every human body and mind is subject to. One is the Adidaiva, the Bhauta, Adhyatma. That is, some of my tummy is aching, or I got a headache. That's things within my body. Somebody mobs me, or somebody mugs me, or something like that. Or a snake comes and bites me behind the head. Something happens to me from the external world. I have no control over that. And the things like earthquakes and all these things, thunder and lightning, these things are also not within my control. So these are the three afflictions that we are subject to and which we try to work. So it means like this, and without disease, that is that person is free from all these three afflictions. Those who know this, as we have said, those who keep on, those who know this, what? the reality as having both names and forms, and yet transcending those names and forms. Those who know this, where is the this? This chair, it's here, there. Those who know this, because it is that reality that shines there. This is the seat of consciousness where you can intuit that supreme reality. You know, it's like there's a vast space out here, and there's another vaster space in the cave of your heart, where so this universe that Vivekananda describes, he experiences shadow like. When one plunges into that center of consciousness of heart, as that person gets deeper and deeper and deeper, what happens is there the person experiences this, what Swami Vivekananda has written. It's not only his experience, it's the experience of everyone who treads this path. So you come to names and form, and then after the names and form, you transcend this name and form. Then the body is still, the mind is perfectly still. That's the state of samadhi. Everybody thinks, oh, I've experienced samadhi. Oh yeah, part of you ought to go then. You a part of you dies in the process. That your past or something like that. Something goes off. You don't get this state for free.
Mm.
Everything is free. No, nothing is free.
Yeah.
You keep on breathing, the air is free. You decrease your lifespan. You breathe slowly, it might increase your lifespan. So, of course, I'm just kidding. But then something of yours is lopped off when you attain this. Part of your
Identity.
illusions and identities and false identities that you built up over the years. Now you're getting into a larger sphere. So those who know this, yeah, and as I mentioned, it becomes the nearest of the near. This, it's here. They become immortal, and as we've said, real immortality is beyond names and form. Real immortality. And we call the gods are immortal. Yeah, they have, but for the time being, relative immortality. They exist for some time, and when the universe is sucked back into its primal cause, the gods too disappear, and then they re-emerge. That's a different thing. But we want to get out of this whole evolution and involution. We are in the cycle. This is Sangha. Come in and go out, come in and go out, come in and go out. While the others only get sorrow.
Yeah.
No, it's actually it means there is a this second line is also found in the another Upanishad called Brihad Aranya, the Great Forest Upanishad, where the sage Yagnavalkya, it says the very same thing. Only there he said apiyanti. Yeah. So etad vidur amritaste bhavanti. Those who know this become immortal, while others. So another Upanishad, yo vai bhumo tacho. That which is infinite is real happiness. Na alpe sukhamasti. There is no joy in the limited, in the finite. So as we keep on compressing ourselves, we find our joy being diminished. The more we expand ourselves, the more our joy and happiness increases. So, what's the limit? Infinite. Yeah, ding dong. So, that was spoken by the sage Sanat Kumara to another sage Narada. He said, the sage goes to Sanat Kumara, the elder. I've learned all these things, all these disciplines, but I'm not happy. So, Sanat Kumar, what have you learned? What have you studied? And he gives a long list of 64 different disciplines, right from Ayurveda to Dhanurveda, that is the science of archery and this and that, and metallurgy and chemistry, and but I'm still sorrowful. Then the sage keeps on talking. This that which is infinite makes you happy. That which is finite makes you miserable. Yeah, so it's like that. It's a kind of a trying to impel us towards opening ourselves up and coming out. And we do that in a kind of a limited way. We try to expand our ideas and expand our personalities and expand our this when we interact with people, with things. We are trying to kind of engage ourselves with more and more and more and more people. And the more we can spread ourselves out, the more we can make ourselves happy. The more we confine ourselves, as you said, we are in deep trouble. So we take the next mantra. Yeah, this is now he was talking about the transcendent reality. Now the line slightly blurs. He brings himself down and trying to describe the reality that is both transcendent and immanent. He who has all the faces, the heads, and necks, who resides in the intellects of all beings and is all pervasive, is the Lord, and therefore the omniscient Shiva. So my head, my ears, my nose, no, that's not yours.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that. My hands, my feet, no, they don't belong to you. In reality, here it belongs everyone's hands and feet and legs, heads. This is the body of God. Something like that. Where do we search God? Here you are. And Vivekananda say, where are you going to search for God? See God. Don't seek God. Here it is. So as we keep on seeing this God here, this God, his hands and feet and legs and head, everything is his body. That's important. Not his. I mean, you might say creation is one thing, and God has got nothing to do. He's taking rest in some heaven. Then quietly, he was tired seeing all this creation. And so, in Indian philosophy, he doesn't go out and take rest. He's ceaseless in his activity. That is, even in the Bhagavad Gita, he says, if I stop working for even a fraction, he's he or she. She is the Mother Kali is always dancing, and that dance is the dance of creation. If she stops dancing, we had it. Hmm. So she is constantly creating. See, when we dance, we are expressing something, we are creating something. So when she dances, the universe is being created. And where's the universe? Her body is that creation. Okay. So there, ceaseless. Otherwise, God, if Kali says, enough of this dancing, just want to take a rest, take a break, then it's dissolution. So the creation, preservation, dissolution. So when the sage says that reality has its faces and heads and necks, who resides in the intellect of all beings, here we are. So there is this search for the realities is implanted thus in all beings. We are not satisfied with illusions. We might be deluded for a while, but we come back to the reality. Oh, that's not. You see a mirage. Oh, that. Oh, beautiful. That's not. And then you see a magic show. Oh, beautiful. But you know it's a magic show. You enjoy it, but you know it's. So it's something fake is, if it does properly, is called real, paradoxically. Oh, he's a real magician. Wonderful magic. Oh, really? So our intellect seeks the real, that being implanted, we will always seek the highest reality. I mean, yes, this is real, this is real, this is real. Yeah, then what? What's higher than this? And it's a ceaseless activity. You cannot stop your intellect by saying, I'm satisfied with this. You'll never be satisfied. Okay, I wanted some chocolate ice cream. I worked for it. I drove 20 miles for that and I got it and now I'm satisfied. The intellect will say, no, you aren't. And there, it'll take you to higher. This is what human destiny is.
But we're spirit. What's all this being?
Yeah, being. That's the, if you call it being is spirit, and yes, what's wrong with that? We are the spirit, and that intellect is trying to understand the dimensions of the spirit. First, you don't say, where exactly is the spirit? This damn spirit which I've been searching here and there and everywhere. It ought to be somewhere within me, because that part of you, that imperishable part of you, keeps on hitting the intellect, kind of tantalizing the intellect. Here I am, here I am, here I am, here. And the intellect keeps on searching in this temple, in this synagogue, in this mosque, in this church, and here, there, everywhere. In this doctrine and that practices. Finally, oh God, huh, here I am, tuck tuck, knocks on the door. Oh, here you are. When the intellect recognizes that core of your being as that imperishable, then it starts unraveling the whole of it. And this is the process of spiritual disciplines. First is the search. We search for truth. And what are we searching for? Truth, yeah, reality or being or existence or bliss or joy or happiness or whatever.
Out of pain.
Yes, it it's a kind of a message for us that our natures are not comfortable with something which is sorrowful, painful, miserable, than that which hurts. Our, our nature goes towards the light, that which is happy, joyful, and good, and real. So you can see a orientation. The authors of all these scriptures were not wrong in saying avoid evil and go do good. What they are doing was trying to orient us towards go here, not there. That is not your nature. This is your nature. And so the intellect now is searching for that. So until and unless the intellect understands that that reality is implanted within that intellect, where do you search it? In the intellect itself. And is this the intellect that you can search reality? No, it's a purified form of that. D. That's the reason why we in the Gayatri mantra we chant, may that deity awaken our intellect, that intellect which is awakened. Dhiyo yo na pracho, dhi, the dhi. That. When the intellect was awakened, wow, hey, here I am.
Is that Buddhi?
Buddhi, yeah.
It's a higher intellect.
Yes, it's a high intellect, a purified intellect, you can say. When it is not now deluded anymore with or not engrossed with objects of the senses. So we can be devious, we can be angels. Hmm. Yeah, I mean, a lot of evil is done by people who are intelligent, very intelligent. They can be really devious. Those innocents who are little dumb and, they are harmless really. They might go and break a store and, rob some tuna fish and canned tuna fish, and his fellow is hungry. Uh, that guy is really is not very harmful to society. But the guy who can manipulate figures and manipulate things and this and that, and he's destructive on a massive scale. So when the intellect is made of this, that is a kind of the corrupted form of intellect. It's like, we have a very sharp intellect, we say. Yes, but there are many types of intelligences. Now, suppose I want to cut something, I can use that intellect, dissect it, bisect it, and trisect it, keep on. But suppose I want to open this drawer or play music, that thing is going to cut. I need some other type of intelligence. And there are various intelligences. We're not talking about IQ. Just the other day at Trabuco, we are talking about something called the social intelligence. The illustration is given of school of fish or flock of birds. When a predator comes, everyone moves at once. The message is transmitted down, and the predator gets so annoyed. I do there, and these guys, they avoid me. Everybody moves as one. What is this? They just see the neighbors' movements. There is no leader, but everyone are leaders. This is social intelligence in a way.
It's physical, not intuition. It's within.
Yes, no, it's actually they see it. They see the neighbor trying to avoid, and that movement is transmitted to this guy, and he moves and he moves and he moves. The whole school of fish or the whole flock of bird move.
I thought they moved as one mind.
Yeah. Now take it as that you've bought in something like we're talking about intelligence, there's spatial in the kinesthetic in the music intelligence and this and that and various types. There's one social intelligence. Here you can see that if the guy does not move when he sees another guy moving, he's stupid. he's going to get eaten up by the predator. Uh, to get back to the
But
intellect,
what if they are not many? What if they are actually one? A billion fish are actually one, and they move
mm,
as one.
they move as one. That's cool. Yes, they move as one. That's what I'm saying. So, what makes them move as one? Social intelligence. So this buddhi. So there are prayers, as we have seen in the beginning of this chapter, that the sage prays to the deity to awaken his intellect so that he can proceed with yoga. We think, oh, we can sit down and practice and meditation and this. We don't need prayers. No, you need prayers. And then that's the reason why. Uh, and then that enlightened intellect can penetrate into the mysteries of this universe. So the idea is the reality within our intellects, within our bodies, within our minds, within everything is that Brahman, God. So let me read it. He who has the faces and heads and necks, who resides in the intellect of all beings and is all pervasive, is the Lord. And therefore, the omniscient Shiva. Shiva is something that is beneficent, auspicious. Shiva can also mean the god Shiva, where you know our gods have we have a male god, and with him always is a female aspect, the Shiva and Shakti, Brahman and Shakti. They never separate; they're always together. It's neither male, neither female. It's just and beyond this male and female business is that higher aspect of that deity, which is formless. So many people say, "Oh, this is Ganesha and this is Shiva and this is Vishnu." How many actually no? We don't. Why was this ever begun? You see, you cannot worship the infinite. You need to superimpose the idea of that which is infinite on a symbol or an image so that you can worship that. The idea beyond cannot be grasped. What is God? Is infinite, His existence, His joy, His bliss, His that. So, right now, these are words. I try to conceptualize them in a kind of a symbol or in an image, and I worship. So, every time we worship the infinite through a symbol. The symbol is not important, it is always the worship of the infinite by the infinite. Always. Since my mind is not yet mature enough, ready enough to get into this higher samadhi, I need to start with baby steps. And what are the baby steps? This worship. So the idol or the image of God or goddess is not the ultimate reality. I am superimposing my idea of this God Shiva is infinite, or God Vishnu is infinite, Jehovah is infinite. So right now to hold my mind steady on the ideas of infinity, and I need a symbol or a form so I can fix my mind. Symbol is all pervasive. There's one story, I'll just incident rather. Gopaler Ma, there was one a woman disciple of Sri Ramakrishna. She used to, she was in a very high state of consciousness. She used to see God as a baby. It's kind of a baby Krishna, Gopala. And that baby used to sleep beside her, eat with her, go to the river to bathe with her, and play with her. And, you know, mm, she- it was in the state, it's called a Bhava Samadhi. Now, she comes to Sri Ramakrishna, she sees that baby, that God as a baby, entering to Ramakrishna, emerging out. Then she realizes, oh, there is something more than Ramakrishna here. Later on, he withdraws that power of her. So she says, why? Saying your body will not last. When your mind is on such a high state, your body will suffer. So, and in this age, it's very difficult to attain to these high states of consciousness continuously. So she wasn't very happy about it and this and that. Anyway, towards the end, that reality which she saw playing with her, the reality of God playing with her always with her, she saw the the all-pervading aspect of that deity, filling the sky, filling the earth, and filling everything. And she said, now I'm not sad about not seeing that God as a baby playing with me. I see his immanent and all pervading aspect. So we graduate from the forms to the formless. It's always like that. So when talking about he who has faces, heads, and necks, who resides in the intellects of all beings and is all pervasive, is the Lord, and therefore the omniscient Shiva. We stop here for now. We can for some questions.
So
Yeah.
you said that in this age,